Hello, we are back. This is Ashes Without Number After the End, Session 8. I'm RxOliver and this is the gang, and we are raring to go. I'm here with the amazing Misters Brian C, Max, Dave, and Logan Brian. Thanks all for joining me, gents. I'm looking forward to this one. Hand it over to our Games Master. Brian, take it away, mate.
All right. So, at the end of last session, we were kind of in an interesting place, so we'll see what everybody does. I do want to remind everyone who hasn't been watching, we've gained a new player in Dave, who is playing Tim, a hunter type who stumbled upon this ragtag group of survivors caught in an ambush and was able to help extricate them from that situation, even though unfortunately both Abigail and Sophia dropped in that particular exchange. With Tim, Kang, and Charlemagne's help, they were able to get them back to like a campsite that Tim had the previous evening and kind of get everybody back up on their feet. They did, however, decide to remain in camp for the rest of the day to just kind of take stock and get some rest, because they didn't want to. Essentially, they didn't want to have two walking wounded. Sophia, in the middle of the afternoon, I guess I should say, early evening perhaps, decided to head back to the auto repair shop. Unfortunately, Emma has a lot on her plate at the moment, so she's no longer able to play. However, Sophia will remain as an NPC for our group. With the assumed addition of Tim, they haven't quite invited him back to their base yet, but with the assumed addition of Tim, we're up to 10 total survivors and a dog in this particular group. However, you guys spent the night away. Sophia went back to let everybody know that you were spending the night in the ruins and heading on to the police station in the morning. I don't know if any of you individually are probably mentally keeping track, but for the sake of the audience, as I try to do at the beginning of every session, I will remind you all that, pull up my notes, 11 days have passed.
It's day 12.
It is currently the morning of day 12.
Okay.
And you have roughly 5 days of food remaining at your camp for 10 survivors. That, of course, is not including anything you're currently carrying on yourself. I know you recovered some perishable food from some of your spoils the previous day in your fight with the red hand of the few that you took down. Now, you're able to camp with no trouble. Perhaps because Tim spotted a good camp the night before, you were not molested in any way. For those watching, I am making encounter rolls. I don't know if you've seen those, but they are happening. And you guys have been very, very lucky where those are concerned of late, particularly having just come off of a pretty difficult situation. That said, I think that brings us up to right now, so I will move us to the police station, substation. Now, if you recall, you approach the substation. We're just always going to assume up is north. So you approach the substation from the east, roughly. You saw several things. Around the back, you noticed there was a fenced-off area with a high fence with some barbed wire on top, and there were several police vehicles of various sizes, patrol cars, possibly a few SUV type vehicles, possibly even a large kind of box truck sized maybe it's a SWAT vehicle or a paddy wagon in the back lot. You did not decide to go into the back lot or check the double doors that led into the police substation from the back lot. But you did see all those vehicles. Of course, most of them are covered in, piles of snow. Because, as always, it is always snowing.
If I remember, the back doors, snow was piled up against them,
Correct.
and they hadn't been opened recently. So
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, no idea if they were even accessible. You'd have to dig it out. And so rather than going into the back lot, you came back around to the front. It was pointed out to you that the police substation has more like slit, probably intentional for natural light windows high up on the walls. But the walls themselves appear to be that kind of 3D printed kind of concrete, layer upon layer, unfinished, probably decently thick. You did, however, find the front doors open, hanging open, not just wide open, but one looks to have been recently pushed open or possibly pulled open, and you did find a red handprint. But if you'll recall, that particular handprint is not similar to the ones that you've seen. It instead, at first, it looked like somebody with a bloody hand had put their hand on the door and pulled it, possibly as they were opening the door. But Charlemagne, on closer inspection, realized with his biological knowledge that it wasn't that the handprint was pulled. Those fingers were just inextricably long and appeared to have clawed tips. Now, I don't know if you've shared that with anyone else, but since we ended on that beat, the first thing I want you to do today for Charlemagne is to make a mental save upon the realization.
Seeing this. Okay. Okily dokily. Charlemagne. What did you say?
Is that how it's pronounced? Okay.
No, it's not. A mental save.
Yeah, mental save.
Okay. What's my modifier? +10, yeah? Because I'm mental. Success.
Well, you just have to roll a 10+. But yeah, you got it. Success. So, yes, you have noticed this. No one else is necessarily aware of that information unless you want to bring that to their attention. Your call.
Well, Tim, you introduced yourself as what you do. You told us you were this ranger survivalist Steve Irwin crackpot, didn't you?
Not at all.
You didn't.
I'm totally sane.
Yeah, he's not a crackpot.
For now.
You mentioned you were this mad Steve Irwin type, so I'm going to actually say to Tim, have you ever seen anything like this before, Doc? Look at this. Look at these long fingers with the claws.
I will have a look at it and see if it springs any memories, but not that I can think of. So, do I need a survival roll?
I'm crossing myself.
No, I assume he's pointing it out to you, so you're taking a closer look, and you can see, with your experience as a tracker, that's not a pulled handprint. That's just long fingers with clawed tips. It still appears to be human ish. It's 5 digits. It's a very notifiable palm print. So I do want you to make a mental save on the realization that this is not right.
It's a mutant hand.
Certainly.
Basically.
No pluses or minuses, is that right?
Nope, you just roll your mental save and it will... Yep.
Ooh, good. Congratulations.
Oh, I forget. Does it give you a plus or minus pop-up? Yeah, it should, because there are some things that can affect saves, but generally a save is flat.
That's why I was joking, it's my bonus
Unless I
+10,
say
because it
otherwise.
asked me what's your bonus.
No. My mental save is apparently 15 plus according to the sheet, so...
And you made it.
Nailed
Just
it.
made it. Well, it's
So-
maybe out of the ordinary,
Interesting.
but it's, you know, this whole world's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
Definitely is.
I saw some unusual things and some things that were no longer resembled human or resembled dog or whatever they once were, and I fear it's one of them, and I'm worried about bumping into something that makes prints like this, because it's going to be some hellish monster from a video game.
Well, nature is
Oh.
out of whack, and we need to try and save what we can.
So I will say that Tim, actually, why don't we? I've changed my mind. Why don't we have Tim make a survival roll for me, real quick, on looking at the handprint?
Okay.
There's more
One-
information you could potentially get.
One thing I was going to ask was, looking at the print, is there an obvious place which was bleeding, or does it look like this hand was just covered in blood when it was placed there?
Excellent question. Yeah, give me that survival roll. It'll be intelligence rather than wisdom, because you're kind of scrutinizing and trying to work it out.
I'm doomed.
Okay, so with a 6, you don't get any sense that the hand is wounded. There doesn't appear to be, that you can see, any indication of an injury or a specific point of the blood affecting the hand. Your guess, based on your skills as a hunter, would be that the hand had been in something bloody. So perhaps in a
Someone
pool of
else's-
blood on the
someone
ground, or a
else's blood.
body.
Someone
Right.
else's blood, basically, is what he's
What-
trying to say.
And,
What you-
and how old is the blood? Is it still wet?
So it's still tacky. It's no longer dripping, but if you touch it, it's definitely got a bit of tacky viscosity to it. So you're guessing at most a half an hour.
Oh wow, that fresh. I thought you were going to say
Now-
at max
So-
24 hours, 48 hours.
No, it'd be dried
I,
in the
can I-
cold by then.
can I get people to have a look? Did we find footprints leading away last time?
You did. So you
What is
lost.
unusual about those footprints? If the hands are different, is there anything unusual about those footprints?
So I'm gonna want everybody to make either. We'll get to that in a second, and when we do, I'm gonna want everybody to make either survival intelligence or notice intelligence when you take a closer look at those tracks. Before that, though, you did get one more bit of information with your survival roll just then, and the orientation of the handprint, and the general. You know, although it's not pulled, as I said, there is still a bit of smearing of blood on contact. The direction of the smear indicates to you that this handprint was placed on the door as something moved past, heading out of the police station. If that makes sense.
Okay. But
Okay.
does it look as though it pushed the door open, or was the door already open? Because if it was
Well,
pushing it open, you'd have pressure, and so
Yeah.
it'd be a wider. You get more
Yeah.
imprint. If it
Sure.
was just placing it, it'd be a thinner.
So between the width of the print and also just looking down, you can see that there is an indication that the door has moved recently because of the way the snow is laying and hasn't quite filled back in yet. It looks like it was pushed open. Not necessarily very far though. Like the door was probably already open. It was just kind of pushing. Imagine pushing off of it as it passed by. You know, it looks like it was moved. It moved whatever it was. It moved through the door at speed, and just kind of pushed itself off the door as it moved through.
Okay, standing next to the door, where it would have stood, hold my hand as if I was doing the same thing. Was it about my height? Taller, shorter?
So the handprint is about a foot higher than where your handprint would be, mimicking the exact same movement.
You're looking at a whole
Ye
stretched
gods,
out person,
that's
like,
tall.
like an 8-foot tall thing. Slender Man.
How hide's the doorway?
So the doorway is actually pretty tall. This is like a 12-foot, like, kind of grand entrance doorway. So, you know, it's pretty tall.
But that's a naked hand, yes?
It is a naked hand, yes.
Looking at the footprints, are they
Okay.
naked feet or booted?
They are also naked feet, and so everybody who wants to take a look can make a survival or notice check with intelligence.
Be prepared to make a mental save as well.
I was like, damn, does some big feet shat come through?
What did you say
So
on
when
wisdom
I'm
or
making it on
intelligence?
intelligence, do I have to manually add in any bonuses, or does it automatically do it?
So if you just click the intelligence radio button on the pop-up, it'll figure that out. You only add more bonuses or negatives if I tell you you need to add more.
Sorry, was it optional wisdom intelligence? You could choose.
No, this is intelligence,
Just
not wisdom.
intelligence, okay. 7.
Okay. So they're barefoot. The feet are large. If you had to guess, I would say with the rolls that you all have, you would all probably be able to figure out that the feet are probably, I don't know if American shoe sizes are going to translate well to you guys, but
Yeah, they're just one
13,
bigger.
14.
And the step spacing? If it hurried out...
Sure. So that's actually difficult to tell because, as I said, it's continues snowing all the time. A matter of a few meters past the door, the tracks are obscured and difficult to follow because of wind and snow. But if you're just looking at the tracks that are available to you from the little bit of snowdrift that goes into the building that you can see with the light that you have available, and maybe a step or two beyond that, this thing has a pretty large gate, maybe even as large as
Deathclaw.
6 feet.
Oh, okay.
Damn, that's...
And looking
It's a death
just
claw.
inside the doorway, where its previous step would have been,
Yep.
is there any sign of blood on the floor where it stepped? Or any drips from which would have come from its hand as it was going along? In other words, is it just the blood on the hand, or lots more blood?
No, I wouldn't say lots more, but I would think if you squint, you could probably see a droplet of blood here or there that would make sense would be dripping off of a hand that covered in blood.
Well, it's not in there, although its mate might be, so I think if we're going to go in, I think we probably better do it. Looking into the room, is there light coming in from those high-up slits, or is it dark?
No, there is light coming in from the high-up slits. It's enough light that without any additional light of your own, assuming there aren't any other large windows in the building, and from what you can see, even if you look kind of to your left along the front of the building here, it looks like these two, obviously you don't know their rooms yet, but it looks like this kind of curved portion has large plate windows, but every other bit that you can see is just those slits high up. This place looks like a fortress. So, given that, you would imagine that without any additional light, it's probably going to be dim lighting conditions once you're, farther than the door inside. Like you'll be able to see, but it'll be dim. There might be some penalties if you get into trouble.
I kind of want this police station, want it for a bit, because it'd be so much better than that. The auto shop is good, and we've already started working on it, but I kind of want this. It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's closer to the hospital. That's another thing.
Well, I think we need to investigate it anyway. If it's a police station, there may be the remains of weaponry
An armory,
or other useful stuff. And if that creature was here, is it its lair? If it's recent blood, then it's either killed something here recently or found something.
Have you got a gun, Tim, or are you still on a bow? Because I'm going to give you a gun if you don't have
I
one.
gave him the sniper rifle or the hunting rifle that I found off the other guy.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got the hunting rifle.
Do we all have
Yep,
firearms?
I have a rifle, but at present moment it's slung on my back because I've got the double bit axe in hand.
Yeah. I have a quick
and
question.
keep in mind, if you're using a long arm, you simply cannot use it if you're engaged in melee combat. You just have no ability to do so. There are foci that allow you to do that, but none of you have those. So.
You.
Gotcha.
I do, just not at the right level.
Is it the second rank that gives you the ability to use a long
Yeah,
arm?
it's
and
the second
hand-to-hand?
rank. I have the first rank.
Gotcha. Okay.
What's the focus?
Well,
Will?
if I go first, then I can try and block other people from reaching those of you with decent weapons.
Essentially.
Well,
do you think
if there's no objections, okay if I step inside and start looking?
Yeah, we trust you. Go for it. I'll step in behind you. I'll go second.
Yeah, I look at Charlemagne. Do you think maybe this thing was chasing somebody, maybe too? I mean, this might not be its house, but it might be like chasing something or somebody.
You guys had, if I recall correctly, last session when you were doing your tracking rolls out front, you did pretty well, and I think I explained to you that there were tracks going both ways. And there were all of the tracks going either way were essentially just this thing, from what you can tell.
Yeah, I think it maybe is a layer for it then. And which we've done a lot of work at the auto shop. The grass is always greener. It's a case of that getting the green-eyed monster. I don't think this is really better, especially if there is some green-eyed monster in it. Let's go find out anyway. I'll have my firearm ready.
Can I ask that somebody keeps an eye out, looking back out through the door to watch for it coming back?
I will take care of the rear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail.
Okay. Alrighty, so as you move in, and you guys can go ahead and place yourselves in wherever you want to be in the first room. We'll just kind of take it bit by bit in case something happens. So, as you enter the first room, are you leaving the door to the front open? Are you closing it?
I think we should leave it as...
I think one of them is hanging off rather than open.
No, just hanging open, right? So they're both connected. They're pretty solid, like metal with some plate glass in it, but you can tell that the plate glass is reinforced doors. You can close them. It's no trouble.
What's the locking mechanism on the inside?
So on the inside, it does have a standard, like what looks to be like a lock and key mechanism. There is a lock on the handle that you can turn, just kind of a standard, turn lock. But you also notice looking around, because again, it does have plate glass, so you still have some light from outside. You can see that there are basically like push bolts at about, just about as high as you can reach, high up, and then also down by your shins. You know how sometimes doors have push bolts up the top, and this is exactly that. There's 2 push bolts on either side of the doors that you can kind of bolt them closed as well.
Any sign of blood on them, like a creature pulled them open before pushing the door
I don't
open?
want to lock ourselves in with something. Like, I don't think locking the door behind us is a good plan.
Well, I'd say leave the door open so that anything coming in won't be suspicious, but keep an eye out to watch for it coming back. I don't know what the rest of you think.
Abigail, I trust Abigail to watch our backs. We'll go in slowly.
Okay.
Should we take
So
this over here?
Yeah, so first of all, the room that you're in was at one point like a entry/waiting room. There are some seats kind of jumbled about. you'd probably be able to grab some scrap from here of like plastic and metal. The light blue panel is a security glass kind of window, and you can see beyond that there are essentially like 2 queues to speak to what would probably be like a desk sergeant or something like that to make a report or make an inquiry. And it looks like in this room, which you can see a door on the other side, that there are some computer monitors, which would probably indicate some computers, and like some chairs, some filing cabinets, just general office stuff.
Now, do computers count as a scrap level, like top level tier scrap?
Potentially. I mean, you'd have to make rolls to kind of pull scrap. Because keep in mind, to keep the game gamist and not get bogged down in those kinds of details, you don't scrap literally everything that you see.
Yeah.
But you could potentially make some rolls to get some it looks like already some pretty decent scrap out of this place. Like tech level 3 easily.
Is that back door open? And is there what looks like a keyboard in there? A board for keys to hang.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So yeah, there is a pegboard next to the door back there. From what you can see with the light available to you, though, it doesn't look like there's anything hanging on it. There's obviously like a bulletin board with some push pins and things like that. Probably nothing of interest. But the door itself is open.
And the main door out of this room into the rest of the station?
That door is closed. And on the handle on this side, you can see that there is blood on the handle. That would indicate that something manipulated the handle.
I'm gonna go see if that blood's fresh or tacky like the other blood.
Yeah, it's about the same amount of tackiness.
Well, let's...
I missed the last part there, Dave.
You broke up there.
Let's see whether or not it locked the door or just closed it.
I'm just gonna let
I will attempt to open the door.
I'm just gonna let you lead with the questions because you know exactly what to ask for every time.
So,
Well, I am a skilled hunter. Although you think
the
I'm
door.
a crackpot.
Are you just going to open it, or are you just testing the handle?
I'm testing the handle to see whether there's any give in the door, to see whether or not it's locked or just
Okay.
closed.
So it is not locked.
Okay, in that case I will crack it open and I think listen to see if I can hear anything on the other side.
I'm just waiting
Okay.
with the gun ready.
So this is a pull from the side that you're on. So you're just going to crack it and listen. Okay. So I'm going to need you to make a notice check with wisdom. With the door cracked, and now that you've all been in here for a moment, I will let everyone make a notice check with wisdom if they would like.
Okay.
And also, are there any strange scents? I mean, I'm used to the scents around this city at the moment. Anything out of the ordinary? But I'll try the notice.
You can definitely smell blood.
Well, yes.
If we don't have notice,
I look
are we
at my
using-
hand. I've probably got it on now.
If we don't have
Yeah.
notice, are we using untrained or can we use survive?
No, this would be an untrained notice, not survive.
Ooh,
Wow.
that would go to good.
Said wisdom this time, eh? Come on.
That's a good one.
Charlemagne did well as well, even with untrained. So, Charlemagne and Abigail, as you're standing here and you're kind of watching Tim, testing the door and cracking it open and listening, you hear, but also kind of feel something that you've not experienced for 5 years. So I don't know how best to explain this because not everybody can. So I'll just ask, do any of you players, individually, yourselves, Can you hear electricity? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
The hum.
Yes.
Yes, there's a distinct hum to it.
So you have not heard that for 5 years, and now you can.
Oh, okay.
Tim, since you're looking through the door, you are looking through the crack, right? You're not just listening. Yeah.
Yep.
So looking through the crack, you notice a few things. First of all, there do appear to be some flickering lights in this area here. But if this place has power, the amount of flickering lights would indicate to you that most of them have been smashed or broken, and only a few of them are still in operation. Possibly, realistically, possibly near the end of their life if they haven't been changed in 5 years, right?
Yep. But as far as brightness, is it a normal level of brightness, or is it very low level power? You know, at the end of
good question.
batteries.
It would be low level power. Definitely not full brightness. Also, I should point out that this room that you're looking into appears to have been some kind of bullpen. Desks back to back. Some of them have been tipped over. I mean, the place looks ransacked, but like this looks like where a lot of the, the kind of day-to-day beat cops would have sat down at their desk and done reports and things like that. You also, from the angle that you're at, you would also be able to see that there is a portion right about here that looks like it's blocked off.
Okay.
Mostly with like stacked just desks and chairs and filing cabinets and maybe an AV cart and some TV monitors, but like it looks like someone has deliberately built a wall out of heavy trash right there.
Okay. Is the floor carpet tiles, tiles?
Oh, the
ceramic
floor
tiles?
is the floor is definitely concrete.
Just plain concrete.
Concrete.
Okay.
Yeah.
And covered in dirt, trash. What?
Oh, I mean, there's probably some puddles that would indicate, something from outside tracking snow in. Definitely a lot of just trash and detritus, paper and just random small things. Yeah.
Okay. I look at the others, raise an eyebrow and indicate the door, shrug my shoulders questioningly. Am I going to open the door?
I'll give you the nod.
I was like, we all probably got guns pointed at that anyway, so I was like...
Yeah, I've got my gun pointed.
I feel very safe with all your guns pointed at me. I open the...
It's no, get it correct. It's pointed 6 inches away from the side of your face. 6 inches away from me. You're safe.
Yes,
No,
so
no, no.
1 degree turn, yes.
I do that in another game, and I always somehow hit the player in front of me.
Is Abigail still back at the doors like that? Am I seeing all this correctly? Are you guys where
Well,
you want to be?
Well, we did ask somebody to watch for this thing coming back.
Well, yeah,
if you remember.
yeah. It's
So,
fine.
like,
I
I'm probably
just wanted
back
to make sure.
here.
Okay.
Sort of looking half this way, half up here, and half down here.
Sure. Okay, so you pull open the door.
Pull open the door, and
What?
Step inside. Okay, yeah, you broke up on me again. So, unfortunately, because of your poor rolls and you were the only person at the door, you failed to spot something. I'm going to need you to make an evasion save.
Ooh.
Ooh, this could be.
on what characteristic?
It's a save, so...
Okay, right, here we go.
Look at that.
Ooh.
Okay,
Nice.
so...
Successful.
Now, with your training as a survivalist and a hunter, right? As you step into the room, you feel the telltale drag of a tripwire on your shin. and that just makes you instantly decide to duck and possibly dive to one side or the other. Your choice. But what the rest of you see, and you're in no position to be struck by it, is Tim dive or juke to the side, and essentially a spike of just metal debris swing down from above the door with some force and just be there to strike someone who had opened the door.
Oh yeah, that would have hurt.
Would that have got both doors, or is it one door is locked and you can only unlock you can only open the other one?
So I mean, this spike is big enough that anybody stepping through the doors would probably take a hit from it, dependent upon their save. But it's more central as it comes down.
Okay. Well, that answers that question. Whatever that monstrous thing is, it is intelligent. Because it reset this trap before coming out. I presume it made a noise as it hit the wall or something, or not?
So that's the interesting thing. It's very well oiled. It looks to have been, if you take a look up at the mechanism, it looks fairly well crafted, even though it's crafted from scrap. But the part where it would hit the wall as it came down, there's padding there. So, like, it's designed to not make a lot of noise either.
No, yeah, I think someone's been using this as a base, but there's also been this creature, whatever it is, and that's why there's a trash wall, because they were trying to keep themselves separate from it. That's why there's a trash wall originally. So I think this side
But
maybe belongs to
my
people.
point is
That side to
that
something
trap
else.
was set when the creature went out. So the creature must have set it.
Or it knew about it.
Or knows
somebody
about
else did it.
And
Or it
and
knew
comes
about
out
it,
a different
yes.
way. Yeah, that's why it comes out this way.
Okay, well, now I'm in. I will have a look at...
Okay. So now that you're in the room, if you take a closer look around, a couple of things stand out to you very quickly. Everybody else can move into the room as well if you choose. You can just kind of look around. You can potentially get through that wall, but it would take some work, because in a couple of places you can actually see indications of welding that has occurred.
Whoa.
Proper trash
To
wall.
keep a lot of these things together. So it's not just stacked, but it's also not perfect, right? It's made out of trash. So, I mean, you could probably, if you wanted to stay here and make a lot of noise, find a way to get through it. But that's the first thing you notice. Another thing you notice is that on the ground, and on this wall, what is my clicker not working? Oh, because I drew. On this wall, and kind of on this wall, and maybe even a little bit in the doors there are indications of ballistic impacts. So there was some kind of gun battle that may have happened here, probably aimed at the door. You don't see any shell casings, so I would say probably Abigail, as an ex-soldier, would recognize that with the lack of shell casings and the clear ballistic impacts on the walls, there was probably somebody on the other side of that junk wall kind of aiming through holes and shooting at something.
Okay.
Okay. And looking down the corridor to the left, what can we see down there?
So the corridor is, I mean, it's relatively clear of debris. There, you can see indications of maybe where a bench was at one point. It's even possible that some of the benches in that hallway may have been 3D printed themselves, right? Just integrated into the wall. but it's just a hallway, and from the light that you have available to you, which is not much, you're basically just getting light from these two walls high up. You can see probably about halfway down, you can see that the doors appear to be intact, at least the ones you can see. They're not standing open, they're closed.
We could light a torch if we need to, more light.
Yeah.
It does look like as you look down that hall, you're going to need light, because you're not seeing... You maybe see a sliver of light from this kind of coming around the corner there. No, actually, you wouldn't even see that because it's all pretty enclosed. So yeah, it just looks dark down there.
Do the doors look as though they open out of the hallway? In other words, into the rooms?
Yeah, I would say that the doors look like they probably open inwards, yeah.
I will quietly suggest to the others that I head down and open the doors on the double doors, because we know there's plate windows into those rooms, so that should shed light into the hall.
Okay, I'll stay behind you.
Okay, well, I'm going to sneak down, I will say.
No, right, okay, I'll stay here then.
I will attempt to... Sorry?
I was just gonna ask, is there any chance I could check out the trap just to get an idea, like maybe something we can use back at base, like with some scrap, especially certain areas that we can use as extra defenses?
Sure, I mean, you could take a look at it, but again, that's something that's going to come into play when we actually start making scrapping rolls later. I mean, if you want to do that in the middle of exploring, we can. If that's what you want to focus your time on right in this moment, yeah.
It was just, he wasn't going to take it apart. He was just trying to get an idea how the mechanism works.
Sure.
So he has an idea when he goes back to the base that he can maybe rig something up. Equivalent that for us at the base.
Again, it looks fairly... Why don't you, Tim, go ahead and give me a sneak roll. But yeah, the trap looks fairly sophisticated. It is spring activated, so they got springs from somewhere, and you have some experience as a machinist and a fixer, so I would say that you can probably identify that it looks like a lot of the springs, well, not a lot of, it's not like there's tons of springs there's maybe 2 or 3 springs. They were probably being used in some older like office chairs for support. But yeah, I mean, it looks fairly ingeniously put together. Again, there's some signs of welding in a couple of the spots to put everything together. The spike essentially is just hammered. It's not really sharpened. It's more just was intended to puncture anything coming through the door.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you make the sneak roll, Tim, or did I just miss it?
What's my sneak roll on? Is it on dexterity?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, sneak generally is dexterity. For this, it'll definitely be dexterity. Although in a slow-moving situation, 12 is fantastic. I will also say that in a non-threatening situation, you could also potentially use intelligence for sneak, but that's not something Tim would do.
No.
he's going to rely on his physical ability more than his mental ability, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, 12 is fantastic. You get down to those doors, assuming you kind of give them a jiggle and see if they're unlocked.
Yep.
Okay.
Are they unlocked?
Yeah, they are unlocked.
Gently try opening one and listen, and kind of look in, and if I see nothing in there, open it the full way.
Okay, so from what you can see, again, pretty much destroyed like any place else, which would also indicate that somebody chose to close the doors afterwards, right? But the room looks to have once been a classroom, probably. or like a
Okay.
lecture room, a training room.
Hence all the daylight.
Yep.
Okay, but that should lighten the corridor and reflect a bit further down.
And in fact, it does. It's maybe not perfect. You probably get another third of the way down with the light coming out of that room before it starts getting a little murky and difficult to see. But yeah. Would you like to
And-
continue to the next one?
Yes, indeed. Do I need another
Okay.
sneak roll?
Oh no, we can keep rolling with the 12. So yeah, you can move yourself up. What's everybody else doing?
I stand
will
about
now-
there and
now move
can I
up
check-
a little bit.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna check. Is this door unlocked or is that like a locked door right here?
I mean, you
That's
can
one.
test it.
I'm going to test that.
So, yeah.
Did he open the one I've just stood next to?
No,
No.
I believe Tim
I
just walked past those.
I skipped the first
Yeah,
two, and
I'll
went
open
straight
that
to the
one
double
then.
doors to open them for light.
I'll
Okay.
open this one.
So if Kang and Charlemagne open those doors, and possibly this would be why I think nobody said that they were looking at them specifically, but I think this is probably why Tim skipped them as well. You notice that these doors are marked with very clear, if worn, indicators that they are bathrooms. So one has the iconic female symbol and possibly with a family symbol next to it, and the other one has a male symbol but also a family symbol, and So yeah, you open the doors and they're bathrooms with a few stalls.
Nothing of
basin.
note in there.
No.
Box of Mentat stuff in the toilet or something. No.
Well, I mean, if you want to go in and do a deep search, you can, but yeah.
Okay, no. I'll
Nothing
close the door
stands
again.
out to you if you're just peeking your head in.
No, I'm just peeking my head in.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
is this second room also classroom?
When you open it, yeah, this appears to be like a mirror issue because the whiteboard / smartboard that they would have used would be on that wall on either side. So it's just kind of a mirror. It's another training room or meeting room.
Okay. Has the light reached the end of the corridor? Can I
Yeah,
see my way to the end of the corridor?
Yeah, I would say with that open now, you could definitely see your way to the end of the corridor. It's shadowy down there, but like it's dim. Like you can see down there now.
Oh, my sort of place. I look back to the others, kind of point to the end, and do the old questioning shrug again. And with Charlemagne waving his double thumbs at me, I shall carry on moving down the corridor quietly. Do I need another sneak
Okay.
roll for this one?
No, I mean 12 is a pretty fantastic roll. I'm gonna let you hang on to that for a smidge.
Okay. Am I
As
hearing anything
you-
out of the ordinary at all? Or seeing anything on the floors or ceilings?
So I wouldn't say that you're hearing anything out of the ordinary. But also I should point out that this hallway was dark. But you do know that there's power.
But the bulbs have been smashed.
Yeah, so if you look up, it's very clear that all of the bulbs have been smashed. Not
Recently?
removed.
Recent?
I mean, I wouldn't say
If-
recently, but it's difficult to say with bulbs. You can see some of the debris and broken glass on the ground.
Right, but has it been crushed and there's stuff on top of it?
Well, again, these hallways wouldn't have had a lot of stuff in them to begin with. But yeah, I would say that you could probably see that where some of the glass from the broken bulbs would be, it looks like they have been stepped on and further crushed, right, and like spread out. So they've been broken for a while.
Okay. Given that something with bare feet walked down here not too long ago, is there a clear path where this glass has been pushed away from?
No?
Because if something with bare feet is treading on glass, either it's very tough skin, or I'd expect to see blood marks from where it's trodden on the glass.
Like it's very tough skin, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's no indication of any path being made.
Very good. I shall sneak quietly to the end and see what I find.
Okay. So why don't we move you up to the corner there, and we'll come back to you. What's everybody else doing?
I'm gonna go to like halfway when he goes up to the end.
I think
Okay.
we're right about here. Keep it like, like kind of like, because we have these doors right here on this side. If these are bathrooms right here, we just don't know what these are. I look at Charlemagne and I point at the door right here, kind of like, you want to check these doors?
Yeah, we'll have a look at what's in them.
Well, I'm actually expecting to find a barricade or something somewhere in my vicinity, because if they've barricaded off the rear of the place at the front, then at the back they'll probably do the same.
So before we get to that, Abigail has moved away from a sight line on the doors, right? So Abigail, you were about right, but you were about here.
Yeah.
And you started to move up. As you started to move up, the door. So a couple of things happen very quickly. Well, no, it doesn't have to be like the door is just going to do it. So these doors here they're like reinforced metal doors, right? They have like view ports through them, but these would be the doors that give you access to the station. It's not open to the public, so they're reinforced doors. As you start to walk back, and I think everybody is going to hear this with no problem because the trap was sprung, you hear a just screeching kind of clang of metal on metal. And Abigail, you see these two doors slam closed, and you hear a very kind of deep chunk of some kind of lock kicking into place. At the same moment as the rest of you hear the kind of screeching, because these doors are going to slam closed on this metal spike and kind of push it back. But as that happens, you will also hear static, and possibly drawing your eye line up to notice that there are some speakers placed in the hallway. Every 15, 20 feet or so, probably. And it sounds like there's some kind of recording that's attempting to be relayed, but you're just getting static.
I'm gonna move back to here and just peek around the corner.
So yeah, you can see that the spike trap has been basically pushed back, and the doors have slammed closed. Now, Tim, at the end of the hall, as you glance around the hall, you can see that there was, in fact, some kind of barricade here. But it appears to have been ripped apart.
Oh, what a surprise. I have questions about the main door, but I haven't the faintest idea what's gone on, so I can't ask them.
Play telephone. It's like, hey, what happened? What happened?
I mean, you can always regroup and head back, but yeah, so it looks like that has been literally physically ripped apart.
Okay. I shall look over my shoulder at Charlemagne, point behind him, and kind of...
You need to remember you're on push to talk, Dave. You're letting go of the button when you're doing the hands.
Sorry. Yeah, I kind of hold my hands up and say, kind of, questioningly, what, behind you, what is it?
So I don't see you because I'm looking that way.
Fair enough. I will turn and pay attention up here just to watch for anything coming back down.
I would say you probably also glance to your left, I would imagine. And so you'll notice that those two doors, they are closed. but they are clearly marked as some kind of locker rooms, right? Like male and female locker rooms for the officers, more than likely to come in and change and kit up and things like that.
Is the door on the far side
I'm
of
guessing
the
those two would be showers,
um,
maybe.
is the door on the
Showers,
far
bathrooms,
side
yeah.
of the old barricade open? That one out.
Oh yeah, so
looks
you
into a
can see
cupola.
that door. That's a
Yep.
good question. That door is closed.
You would talk about this one here.
Yes. And given that the light bulbs in this corridor are out, how about beyond the barricade?
So beyond the barricade, it's much the same. I mean, you're maybe getting a little bit of light spillage enough to where you can just make out the barricade. Well, and see its condition, but like beyond that, you can kind of see that there's a door there that's closed, but it's very dark there.
Okay. Well, I'll wait to find out what the others behind me are doing about that noise, because I'm not going to step forward until I'm given the all clear. I'll just look over my shoulder every so often to to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'd look over to Abigail and kind of look at the door. Why it kind of just closes? Like any idea?
Actually, at this point, I'd like Charlemagne and Kang to make a notice check for me
Okay.
with wisdom.
I really need to learn this skill notice that I don't have. Like,
I make sure to at least get a 0 in this.
It's not bad.
got God in my dice, though, I'm fine.
That can be better. Okay, so Kang, Charlemagne doesn't notice this.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Kang, you hear something above you and maybe in front of you, right about here.
Okay.
And it's kind of that sound when like a metal sheet is compressed and decompressed.
Like somebody standing on something. Like it just kind of like won't kind of.
Yep.
I kind of like back like I have my gun kind of pointed up and looking up, and I'm looking at Charlemagne and I'm like, Charlemagne.
So as you look up, and since you called out to Charlemagne, I would like both of you to make another mental save for me.
Ooh, me and him.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
isn't it? Oh, big 4 for Charlemagne. Wait a minute. Charlemagne can undo rolls. Let me check
yeah,
my character
if
sheet.
you
Oh,
want.
nice roll, Max. Nice roll.
Ooh, I succeed. Thank God.
Right, let me check my character sheet. I can do some things with rolls, right? So, it's on edges. Survivor's Fortune. I can re-roll that. Or no, I roll a 1d6. If something bad
failed
happens
save.
to me,
You roll a 1d6.
I have to wait.
It's your call, man. You're just gonna take 1 stress.
Ah, right, okay. It's maybe not worth it then. If it's
Okay.
something major, I can undo it.
Yeah, like if you had just taken that spike trap to the
Yeah, I
chest.
can potentially undo things like that.
Right.
Ooh.
All right. So, both of you look up, and there is an opening where there would have been like an HVAC register. And this is like an industrial-sized opening, so it's probably at least 4 feet on a side, spanning the majority of the hallway. And as you look up, you notice 2 things. The first thing that you notice is long, claw-tipped fingers sliding back up into the opening. As you see, probably Kang sees. Well, no, I mean, you've both got light coming out of those rooms, so you would both be able to see a little bit of eye shine from something that was like looking down at you and then backs away. Now, the ceilings in this room are about 12 feet. No, I'm sorry, about 10 feet. There's a drop ceiling. So, yeah.
Why am I just getting Xenomorph alien vibes, Brian? 100% that's how it feels like. There's one of them in the roof, in the ceiling.
They're in the wall.
You don't see any. You don't see any drool.
Good.
Nothing appears
Come
to
to
be eaten by
implant their
acid.
eggs in you.
Yeah, so so it's like, you know, he just like saying, well, this thing's in the freaking AC unit. So the thing is that we don't know. I don't know the plans of the AC unit, how it goes through, because the stuff probably goes all over the place. But it's surprising. This thing is that I don't know how heavy this thing is and how well the AC unit's vents are.
Well, apparently vents like that you see people crawling about in movies, apparently that's very unrealistic because they're too small and they're not strong enough, apparently.
Yeah, but this is effectively a movie,
Yeah.
So...
I know. Yeah, it's just one of those. It's like he's just kind of thinking. It's like, oh shit.
You can't use the real world physics on it, Max, because it's a movie thing that doesn't.
Oh no.
Life.
No. My thought is that if it was here, right? I don't know the duct system in here where it can basically slip around.
I'm just gonna chuck a grenade
So-
in. Oh, I don't have any grenades. Nightmare.
Wait.
I've given you guys enough weapons. I haven't given you any.
All right. So Brian, I have a question.
Yep.
So we're here, right? So the creature was right about here, right?
I would say that the opening is probably right in the middle, right?
Okay. So is the ceiling one of those, like, it's the square? I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, like
acoustic tiles.
Yeah, the zigzag tiles. Is that what's up there, or is it open where you can actually see the vent?
So is
No,
it effectively a 12-foot ceiling with a 2-foot deep by 4-foot wide vent underneath that, with then ceiling
Essentially.
tiles underneath that. So there is
essentially.
polystyrene ceiling tiles and a thin metal plate between your gun and it.
Right.
Yeah, I was
And
just
you-
making sure if I didn't
From
see
the
system
way
going this
that it
way.
was moving, you know that it was moving back in this direction.
So I was just about to ask, was it my side or his side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I say, Charlemagne, look through and see if there's another vent. No, you see another over there.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
Okay.
And since Kang heard it before and Charlemagne saw it, I would say you could probably hear the as it's moving across these panels.
I might just point the gun up and just shoot like a mite. What do you think, boys? Should we just shoot it through the? It's a thin little.
Hey, you
bit
gotta
metal.
spray it. Yeah, this take a spray. Just...
Well, you're firing shot. So firing shot
I'm
into...
No. I switched up from the shotgun to a combat rifle, mate.
Oh, that's right. You've got a combat
I've got
rifle.
power.
Yeah, I have the
Oh
shotgun.
yeah.
I've got bullets.
Yeah, he has a
No.
shotgun, pistol, and rifle.
I might have prepared a few
I-
hollow points in my downtime.
So
Looking over my shoulder, I see these two pointing their weapons at the ceiling, and I look
Uh-huh.
above me.
So you don't see or hear anything. So it...
So it's just ceiling
Obviously,
tiles over me. No problem.
Yeah. You don't know it, but it's probably not heading your way. For Charlemagne, I will say that firing into almost complete cover... I mean, it's even worse than that, because you'd basically be blind firing upwards, so it'd be... If you want to make that instinctual call when you hear it moving towards you to just raise your gun and fire, you're going to be at -8.
Oh, there's no point rolling that, is there?
Well, I would say hold an action in case if it does come. If like you just hold your action, looking up.
I mean, I'm,
So if something does fall through, you just boom.
I'm ready anyway. I've always said I'm standing there with my gun pointing to wherever the
Yeah,
closest I've heard the sound is. I don't think I'm going to make the shot. Like,
Yeah, I don't know that Charlemagne would be the person to just start shooting into the ceiling.
no,
Not the typical American thing.
no.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So, like, you know, King is thinking this through. Is there any like a electrical room, or if there's like a blueprint of the building somewhere that he
Well,
can
I
see or
mean-
anything on the wall?
I don't know that there would necessarily be a blueprint on a wall. I mean, sometimes that happens.
Not in the
games.
bullpen. I wouldn't have thought
But yeah,
I
not in
mean,
the bullpen. Yeah, there's probably a room that is like an electrical and an HVAC room that would have easier access to those things. But I can't
Okay.
guarantee that there's going to be any kind of like blueprint on the wall.
Okay.
Your best guess though is that those vents probably go through every room. And looking up, you can see further down the hallway that there is another vent, probably about right here. If you look back towards the bullpen, there's probably another vent like right here, probably over here.
well, given that the walls in the rooms probably go all the way up if it's printed, then there's
Yep.
probably gaps into each room where a pipe can go. The main vents following the corridors. Who knows? But
Yeah.
no sign of anybody gesturing me to move forward just yet. So I will carry on waiting.
Okay.
I look at Charlemagne. What do we do? Back out?
Yeah, I need to get Tim's attention though. I need to make it clear to Tim that there's something crawling about.
Throw a rock at him and come like.
I am looking over my shoulder every.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking
so
over
kinda-
his shoulder, so you can
so
get his
it's kinda-
attention. So you see Charlemagne pointing up.
Yep, I'd figured that there was something up there because they were pointing their guns up and looking up. But I've checked and there's no openings over me, so I'm just waiting for them to ask me to do something.
Well, I'm starting to think we should get out here. So I'm gonna be like, I'll keep my gun pointed, but I'm gonna turn around, look at him, and go be like, "Come, we're
Okay.
leaving,"
So
kinda
he's
so-
waving you back.
Yeah, waving him back, kinda. But I'll still keep my gun up.
Okay, I shall turn sideways and move and. Hang on. I shall turn sideways and move back along the corridor. When I get to the vent, I shall stop and look up and make sure it's safe to cross underneath it.
Okay. So yeah, you can all move back very easily when you get to the large vent, because in the other places in the hall they're smaller vents. They're what you would normally expect for HVAC. That large vent in the middle is probably like an access point to the system, right? So if there's something up there, it's probably not going to get through a 12-inch by 6-inch opening.
Yeah.
But a 4-foot by 4-foot opening, like an access opening, it probably can. Although I would say that even looking at that large opening in the center of the hallway, there's a part of your brain that's just not computing. Like, okay, if this thing is taller than me
How's it getting in?
and it's moving with such a large gate, how is it fitting in an HVAC system that is
Very
maybe
flexible.
2 to 3 feet tall? Could be very flexible. So yeah, there's nothing up there as you move under it though. So you're very clear to move under it.
So as Tim is moving it back this way, he's looking at Charlemagne. It's like, all right, so if the door is locked back there, the only way
Well,
we
you
can
don't
get
you
through
don't know that the door is locked.
No,
yet.
no. It's just my brain's thinking is like he's thinking if that door is locked over there, the only two ways is the door is this like windows here or going through that. So he just waiting for Charlemagne right there. He turns back to Abigail. It's like, what's with the other two doors? I heard something shut.
Does Abigail tell him about the doors?
Yeah, I sort of motioned that point to where the doors are and just like,
Okay. So the doors
okay.
are shut.
So he looks at the other guys. It's like, So
Doors
from
shut?
looking at
I ask.
from what Abigail says, they are
Open the
shut.
doors.
Pushed shut from outside? I ask.
I don't know that. So, I would say that Abigail noticed the doors shutting out of the corner of her eye. And I'll just go ahead and give you the fact that she didn't see anyone or anything out there. It looked like the doors shut automatically.
Oh, so it was an elaborated trigger system, possibly, where, like, if the door's left for a certain amount of time, it will close itself?
Maybe.
No. So you're thinking... Well, tell you what. Why doesn't somebody give me a no check? No with intelligence.
I think I have that.
I don't have
I
no.
think
I don't have
Gang
no.
does.
Yeah, I do.
Max, you're, don't know what's up with your mic, but everything's coming through kind of warbled.
7.
Garbled.
I have no idea, but
So with a 7, I would say that your best guess is probably with doors closing automatically and some attempt at a broadcast. It's probably an automated lockdown system.
oh, that's not good.
I will ask if there is a door closing mechanism on the inside. Because there won't be on the outside.
I mean, you guys can go back and look at the door if you want.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking at the door now.
Yeah.
It does. It does look like there is a lot more, I don't know, mechanism around these doors than is normally around just a door hung on hinges, right? So yeah, it makes sense that they were closed automatically.
And this door is still open, right?
Oh yeah.
So King walks over here and looks inside, and so from here, the only way you can see is here. Can you see over here? Is that just a wall right there? And you
That's
see
a
out
wall.
is right
Yeah.
here.
Correct.
Okay.
So as you're looking into that room, as I mentioned before, there's some indication of computers. You can see now that you're on this side of the door that there is like a counter. Underneath the counter, there would be, cases, computer cases. Those look to have been torn apart. The monitors appear to be unpowered. One of them is broken. And you are getting light through here because this door is still open. So I would say that you can see well enough in this room to see... Well, give me a notice check.
Okay.
Or if you want to look closely, if you want to get in there and really dig around, you can use intelligence. Or if you just want to glance and just kind of use your awareness, it would be wisdom.
Let me use my intelligence. They're about the same thing, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably don't see anything.
So yeah, as you step inside and look around, it looks like this place has been broken up. With your earlier knowledge tech, you would think that if a lockdown is initiated, this might be one place where it could be done from. But, there was nobody in here, and you don't see any indication of any way to do that.
Okay.
I will ask
Alright, so-
Charlemagne what was in the ceiling. Because
Fingers.
nobody's told me yet.
Yeah, remember the fingers, the big mark we seen? We saw big fingers, big weird looking fingers. Something's big and it's up there, and it's up there.
Yeah, it looked like something had
Okay.
curled its fingers around and then just kind of creepily, ducked back into and pulled its fingers back.
So, whatever
Whatever.
went out, this probably is its mate or fellow monster. Whatever.
Oh, and I will say that you could see in the light that was available to you that the skin was kind of a sallow, kind of grayish color.
Okay, yeah, Tim, we're not stopping to make a documentary though. We're getting out of here.
All right. So is that the question for me is mentally is King seen the windows of this one and this one. What would be a better way for us if we had to go out through one of the windows? Would be a
explosives.
explosives?
Yeah, these are reinforced, like, think semi-futuristic, like reinforced
Bulletproof
glass
glass windows.
windows. You're not just gonna shoot your way out. You're not gonna use a chair or anything like that. This is the kind of stuff that they put in like high-rise buildings, right? This armored glass. Like I said, this place is built like a fortress.
Well, look on the bright side. We're in lockdown, so whatever was outside can't get in, so all we have to face is what's inside.
Well.
There you go.
What do you mean we're in lockdown?
I'll try and cheer them up.
So I'm just realising that. Oh, so that door's locked.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming that's
So
locked.
this door is closed, and
Well, that was the-
Abigail
that
heard
was the
like
trap
a
one, wasn't it?
chunking. Yeah.
You
This door, Kang can see, is still open.
Right, yeah, but this was the trap door. So we're locked
Yep.
in the bullpen.
That's the
Well-
door that's closed.
So by the sound of it, if it chunked, it's an electronic lock. Yes?
Yep.
So we need to find the power center and the controls for lockdown.
Do you think somebody's in here playing?
Which would make
playing with
sense.
us? Somebody's actually in here doing this to us.
I don't know.
Or
It might be automatic, it might be deliberate. But we've got to deal with it, whatever it is, haven't we?
Hmm.
what if it's like some kind of screwy, messed up mousetrap?
Well, if something's hunting us, it's got another thing coming. Right.
Yeah, it's like, well, that creature that came in here, it probably might be trapped like us in here. It came through here, through the door, and when the door locked on it, it got stuck out. Maybe.
Well, from what you said, there are two of them. One of them left by the door, unless it's got an access in through heating vents on the roof.
Maybe,
If this is air
maybe
conditioning,
it came out and
the-
came back in another way.
yeah, there may be heating vents on the roof and it came in through there. Who knows?
Maybe you can find a roof access. I mean, some of these buildings have roof access. That makes it easier to get
We
to
need to
the
find some way
systems
out.
upstairs.
Could be
Well, it
sewer
depends.
access as
Depends. Well, we didn't see a roof access around the back, did we?
well. Not like a ladder accessing the roof. No, you don't know if there is access to the roof from inside.
Yes, but external access, there wasn't an external access on the
Correct.
outside. And
Correct.
that would make sense. If this is a fortress, any access to the roof would be from the inside. So there is probably either a ladder or a stair up to the roof from the inside somewhere.
Oh, and so again, you didn't see the entirety of the exterior, so there could potentially be like
Fire escape something on the outside.
something like that on the to come down from the roof. But yeah, if you're thinking this is like a fortress, it's doubtful that there's just a ladder, down to the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if there is something in the heating ducts, let's have a look at the ceiling in the bullpen area. Does it look as
Okay.
though there's any way for it to get down through a vent in the
Any
bullpen
holes in
area?
the ceiling.
Oh yeah, there is a kind of actually right where Kang is standing. There is a large vent there, and again, it looks like if it once had a vent cover, it no longer does.
Hmm.
It is standing open. It's like 3.5, 4 feet on a side.
And are there any marks on the heap underneath it that would indicate something climbed up or jumped down?
Well, I mean, that would be difficult to say. Why don't you, again, notice or survival with intelligence to investigate? So, I mean, I would say it looks like possibly like where Kang is standing, there might be an indication of things dropping from above.
Okay, can we find some easily breakable bits and pieces?
Oh yeah.
Good. Let's pile some of them on the desk underneath that vent, so if anything does drop down there, there will be a smash tinkle tinkle.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you want to pull a desk over, put a bunch of breakable stuff on top of it, so you've got
Just
a
to
bit
make
of an
an
alarm
alarm.
if something drops down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll take you
Not
a
just an
couple of
alarm
minutes.
bit, like put lots of things like really like slanted on top of each other. So if something does fall, everything's going to move and go chaos, and it's going to potentially hurt itself if it falls on this. It's not going to be able to keep its footing. It's going to go fly and it's going to break its neck. Hopefully, right?
I look sideways. At this skilled hunter and think,
So
I'd
if you want-
just be happy with the notice.
Yeah, if you want to be aware if something drops down, that's easy. If you want to make it a potential trap that it might hurt itself, that's going to take a fix roll from someone.
I mean, I can break
And
something up.
time.
I know somebody
Let-
that's a
And
bit
time.
handy.
Yeah. So I think we should do the minimum and then investigate this place,
Okay.
watching out for locations where it might be able to get out.
You're the expert on wild creatures.
Well, this is probably hopping mad with us being in its den. I ask, could somebody have a look in the front room and see if there is a vent into the front room,
Okay, I'll go
into the lobby area? Because if there is, you can look through the glass and look up at the ceiling. Yes.
Yeah, I go in there and look and see if there's one in here.
Yep. Because if there is, then it could get in and out without having to go through these doors.
So from what you can see, there is not a vent in the front room.
Okay.
Not a big enough vent.
Okay. If we have a look through the doors that are open, i.e. into these two toilets and the two classrooms, what are the connections to the air conditioning there? Does it look like you have 4-foot aircon ducts going into those rooms that it could then get out of through those rooms, or is it just a small side vent sort of thing?
Okay, so looking up at the ceiling in the bathrooms and the first kind of instructional area, it looks like it's just the standard normal register size. If you head back to the second classroom area and now look up at the ceiling, there's no large register, but it does look like something has punched its way out of the ceiling. So there is a large enough hole in the duct and the ceiling there.
Okay, so is that also a 4-foot wide duct going into this room?
From the ceiling, it's large. Possibly 4 feet or so. Yeah.
Okay, well, get a long stick and poke the plastic tiles out so that we can see up and see where the duct is running.
I see what you're saying. So yeah, by doing that, it is pretty tall, but I would say, there's enough stuff around that you could probably find a long enough pole or something to be able to poke out some of the. And it does look like the ductwork has at least one major spur into this room to the hallway, and probably into all the other rooms as well.
Right.
Although maybe, to be fair, this is maybe more information than you need, but maybe this room only has the larger duct access because this is an external room with a large window, which would mean it would take in a lot of heat. So in the sense of aircon, it might have had the larger ductwork to allow more airflow into the room to help cool it off more. It's possible that some of the smaller rooms, like the bathrooms, possibly the central rooms here that you haven't really checked out, those might only have small, ductwork in between to the hallways. But tough to say.
Well, if we've got something which can knock the plastic tiles out, then I suggest we knock out a couple of plastic tiles where we think the ducts are in the bathroom, and just see what the situation is there.
Sure. So doing the same thing in the bathroom, and again, this is all taking time. But maybe one of you is doing. Maybe Tim, you're doing this while they're setting up the alarm system under the duct in the bullpen. But yeah, in the bathroom, it looks like there's probably smaller ducts.
Okay.
So it looks like there are some rooms that have large ducts into them. Obviously, the hallways do. And some, at least the one classroom has a larger duct into it.
Okay. Quick question.
Mhm.
The barricade that we can see,
Yeah.
does that have a gap at the top that one of these things could climb over?
So it does have a gap at the top. The gap is probably, it's irregular because it's a whole bunch of random stuff just kind of welded together. But it looks like in a couple of places, if you're assuming this thing can squeeze through a 2 foot wide, or sorry, 2 foot tall by 4 foot wide duct, it looks like there's a couple of places it could probably crawl over the top of that wall.
Sounds dangerous. Well, if they've finished down the front, I think we're just going to have to advance and take a risk and try and find the service room so we can unlock that door.
Yep.
Or like a rear exit. I'm sure there's an exit door somewhere, probably.
Well, there are
Yeah.
doors at the back, but if that was lockdown, those are probably locked as well. Well, I will go back to the others and just agree what we're going to do. And I think, my suggestion is that we carefully head forwards, watching out for this thing, check the rooms, try and find the room that controls the lockdown. What do people think?
Okay.
I agree.
That sounds.
Yeah.
All right, so you go back and grab everybody. Are you going to use any particular marching order as you head down the hall?
Well, before we do continue, do you mind if we have a quick halftime break, Brian?
Oh, sure. Yeah, halftime break is great.
Nice one. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a bit of a plan. We have a desire to head deeper into this substation and find some way to shut down a lockdown. The assumption is something has initiated the lockdown and that you can end it. What are you looking for? Probably a server room, mechanical room, maybe another computer or some kind of terminal that gives you access to the lockdown.
Well, I mean, there is power, even though it's
some,
not being used
yeah.
for the light. It may well be that the lights were smashed to reduce the amount of power being used, to keep any batteries or whatever. Whether or not the thing that we saw, that you saw in the ceiling, started the lockdown, or is just taking advantage of it, it seems particularly fortuitous for it that the lockdown has happened. I will warn everybody that there may well be more than one of them in here, though. We know there's one outside, or there was one outside. So again, if we do break the lockdown, we might be facing that as well. If
it's
the
just
creatures themselves started the lockdown, they can also stop it and let the other one in. So keep an eye out behind.
I don't think there's two. I think there's just one coming in and out. I hope you're wrong.
Did you see
Well,
any?
I mean,
Did you see any blood on those hands?
I look at Charlemagne and I'm like,
Did this one have a bloody hands when I saw its hands?
There was no blood handprint left on that ceiling tile where its fingers kind of pulled back from. Maybe it washed its hands though.
Yeah, maybe. Or it finished eating and ate all the blood off. Nom, nom.
Yeah, yeah.
I will make a mental note. Charlemagne, incurable optimist. Okay.
Yes, he is actually. Yes, he is.
Plan for the worst and hope for the best. Okay, let's
Praise the Lord and
proceed
pass
down
the
the
ammunition.
corridor. Okay.
Yep.
As a matter of interest, are these twist handle doors or lever handle doors?
Oh, these are largely lever handle doors.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Not even
will-
largely. They are all lever handle doors. Yes.
I will ask whether or not there are any lengths of wood we can use to block them up.
Hmm.
Uh,
There's a lot
that
of
I think. So
Check.
a good enough, sturdy enough length of wood to block off some of the doors. I'm gonna need, if you guys want to look around in the junk in this area, this is gonna require a search test to try and find
Okay.
enough suitable, strong lengths of wood.
What do we
And again, there's no search skill, so you're going to use notice. But since you're looking for something specific, that's going to be intelligence.
I don't have notice.
Okay, well,
Untrained.
In that case, if you can stand on guard and I'll have a look around.
I'll help
Although-
too. I got trained in it, so
Although with my intelligence, I'm not going to find much.
I got intelligence of +1. So
So
maybe
what?
+1.
Five.
I was going to say, why don't we do a helping roll? Because
Well, I will
That way
help
we
if
can-
that's possible.
yeah, we can have the person with the best skill help. I don't know why I keep forgetting the help rules. I know there's help rules. Combat.
Is
Print
this
out a new
is this foraging for material? He says, hopefully.
Not in this case, no. That foraging
Shame.
would be a general, like, as you're traveling kind of thing. I know, that's survival, right? Oh, well... No, I think your survivalist skill would help in this situation. So yes, you'll be able to re-roll.
In that
Something.
case, roll it twice
Uh,
and take the better roll.
Could I roll survival rather than notice then?
Yeah, you can... Yeah, survival's fine. We can use that. Since you think you're fighting for your survival here, I'll allow it. Is one person keeping watch, or are you all just looking around?
I'm failing.
Abigail's keeping watch. Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
hear you,
Yeah.
Brian, because I think you're muted. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was
Right.
muted, but yes, I'm
Yep.
keeping.
Okay, so we got a bunch of not great
Fails.
rolls.
A bunch of fails.
So what?
Okay,
what
so
I'm gonna
We don't
what I'm
find
gonna do?
so- Yep.
It's not pass or fail necessarily. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you collectively 1d4 lengths of wood that you think would be sturdy enough to block one of those doors. So somebody roll a d4. That's how many sturdy lengths of wood you have.
I nominate Dave. He's been lucky with the rolls tonight. Dave, roll a 1d4.
Oh well, yeah. Dave should roll because Dave can actually re-roll that die as well because of survivalist. Since you're
roll
looking
it up.
trying to find a specific thing.
Hmm.
See,
Oh, it's a
I
4.
told
Okay.
you. I told you Dave was the best to roll it.
So you're gonna have 4 decent lengths of wood you can use to block off specific doors as you move.
Okay.
Okay.
In that case, did the
Anything more
fir-
than that, you're gonna have to take a lot of time to really find what you need.
Okay. Well, I suggest as we go along, we open the side doors, poke out a few tiles, and just check what the registers are like. We know that the far big room has a big register, and the creature's punched a hole through it.
Mm-hmm.
So we know the bathrooms are just small ones, so we can ignore those. So as we go along, I will open that door as well. So
This one.
let's move along.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and move yourselves up to the first door. Group up however you want to. As you open this door and go in, this is obviously with some kind of an office. Looks like for probably 4 detectives, maybe. Again, stuff has been shifted around, moved around, scrapped over. But using the pole to kind of see what kind of size register you're dealing with in here, because there is just standard-sized vents in the ceiling. You discover pretty quickly by checking both ends of the walls, essentially, that this is just a smaller register, probably no larger than a duct, I should say, smaller duct, no larger than the registers themselves.
If it can get through those, we are in deep trouble. Okay, I'll check the first of the big rooms. Has that got a large register in it?
Yeah, that has a large register.
But it hasn't punched a hole through that yet.
It has not punched a hole through that one, no.
Okay. I would suggest that we leave that door open. If it punches a hole through the register, Abigail should hear it.
Sure. Well,
Okay.
most of you will probably hear it, yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll come down to the next door, and we know it can get through those, so we'll block those two doors. So that will take up 2 of the sticks, yes?
Okay.
Fair
These
enough.
two. You mean this one and this one?
Yep. Yep.
That's it. And I will check the door on the other side and see if it's the same as the first room on the other side, i.e. just
It
a
is.
small. Okay, so
Yep.
we don't need to block that.
Yeah, and I'll assume you guys are all kind of moving together as you move down the hallway. But yeah, that one is... Now, since you have closed these doors, obviously you're cutting down your light in the hallway.
Yes.
But, you know, that's the sacrifice, right? Now,
Agreed.
as you get to this point, you come in here, you check this door, or this wall, the ceiling. And again, it looks like some kind of an office. Is anybody else going in to help you, or is anybody staying in the hallway?
Well, what I was going to suggest was Sorry, I'm trying to use control and move at the same time. I will suggest that I stay in front on guard with my axe, while the next person opens the door, checks the ceiling to see what's there, and then I'm on guard if anything charges us.
So leave that to Kang.
Yeah, that's fine. I got a gun in my hand. So I was like, all right, check the door and kind of like...
Yeah, and you're poking the ceiling tiles to see the register. So the ductwork rather. The ductwork in this room is also the smaller kind, so it probably can't get through that. Now, as you're checking that room and kind of poking around in the ceiling, I'm not gonna make you. No, I think I am. We'll see how much you notice. I want anybody who's still in the hallway while Kang kind of pokes around in the ceiling in this room to make a notice check if you think that you're looking down the hall. Abigail, I imagine, is probably keeping her eye back on the bullpen.
Yes,
Yeah,
Abigail's looking back. I'm looking forward. What the other two are doing is up to them.
Intelligence?
What? No, this will be wisdom.
Oh, good. That's a better roll for me.
That's not necessarily
Fair.
good. Okay, so, well, you both didn't get as good as I'd like. So what I will say is you don't see it very clearly, but at the far end of the hall, you see something kind of peek around the corner and look at you. And you just see it for a second. And it's still pretty dark down there since you closed these doors. But I am going to show you what you see.
Please, not an illithid.
That wrong
Are you
universe,
ready?
wrong system.
Yeah, wrong universe. Be something worse, watch.
Oh.
Ooh.
Just as bad.
This is bad, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this thing
If
got
that-
mutated really badly.
If that's mutated from a human, there's not much human left in it, is there?
And it is, as soon as you see it, it ducks back around the corner.
Oh.
I want to keep it and call it George.
It's just, I don't know if this is a question I can ask, but is it when he sees it, is it like, when you're looking at the level of the wall, is it kind of crouching, kind of like this, where it's like hunched over, kind of looking around its head, where it's not full height, but kind of...
Like Gollum.
maybe to bring a little bit of levity to the situation, it kind of, when it peeks around the corner, it does so in a very kind of a comical way. Like you just see its head peek around, so you don't know if it's crouching or how high it is. The head height is probably about your height, like your head height.
Yeah.
So-
if it's crouched over, it's really tall.
I will suggest that we light a torch. Given that all the bulbs have been smashed, and that thing has big eyes, it probably doesn't like bright light.
I mean, I could hold it because most of y'all have like either a two-handed weapon, anyways. So I can still use my gun and just kind of open the door up a weird way.
Oh,
but
because
still
you
open
just
the
have a
door.
pistol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah. So if you're there, you see me pull out a torch and just.
Okay. Thank you. I don't say that that's certain, but it does look to have big eyes, and these are smashed bulbs.
Yeah, I reckon it
Right.
looks better in the dark than the light.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next room,
Big
and the two
creepy
across the
thing.
hall.
Well, these
Exactly.
are probably. Could we tell those are bathrooms or no?
So yeah, you can tell those are bathrooms. So
Do
pretty
they-
much the
do
same
they-
thing.
Do they have small window slits in the walls?
They do not. No.
Okay. And the room across the hall from them?
Another office. And you, Kang goes in and checks the ceiling, and again, small register, small duct.
Okay. Cautiously approach the corner, listening.
So you don't hear anything over there. With Kang coming up behind you with a lit torch, and you've removed that torch, right, Kang?
Yeah, I will. Give me a second. I'll move
Okay.
it from it.
Just reduce one of your torch, like, because you have probably still
Yeah.
3, I would imagine. Just
Yeah.
reduce the number in that item to 2.
Right.
You don't have to
So-
lean over my shoulder with the torch, Kang.
Sorry, I was
So, yeah,
trying to, I was trying to.
With the torchlight kind of filtering through the hallway, you can see much what you saw before. The smaller barricade has been torn apart. This door here is closed. These two are also closed. Very light debris in the hallway, but some. No lights appear to be working.
Okay, I will suggest that rather than investigate these rooms to the south for the time being, we just block them off and use the other 2 bits of wood to block those off.
Okay.
Because we know that there's at least one creature to the north, but there may be others. There may be another. It may be trying to lure us into a false sense of
That
security.
one's blocked as well.
Sorry, do I
Sure,
sound
think.
paranoid?
No, you're a normal gamer, so you're kind of being cautious. That's all you're doing. You're being cautious and smart about it.
Okay, so you've used your 4 slats to block off some doors. You can move pretty easily through that torn up barrier. Like it's maybe a little tight, but you're fine. You're not going to hurt yourself.
I'm watching the ceiling because it may, if it's got long legs, it may have leapt up and clawed its way up into a
Right.
duct if this one opens.
So there doesn't
I-
appear to be a large duct open.
I will step forward
From
to
here.
there so Kang can step out behind me with the torch and illuminate ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I stand right there with a gun, and I look over there. Is there any like scrap of wood that, if this thing ripped this through, is there like pieces that we can kind of rip off as extra pieces as these would, or no?
Well, no. Again, the majority of this is made out of various bits of metal that appear to have been welded together. So you would not have
Oh.
the strength to rip off any of the bits.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. Are you saying that barricade of welded metal has been ripped to bits?
Ripped apart. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, well, can I tell like with my
Ow!
fate skill or my knowledge skill to see what kind of strength you would have to break something like that?
Much more than
More-
me.
More than you, yes.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, yeah, definitely cautious as this one is like, Now my question is, would we rather have somebody with a shotgun in the front or in the back? So that's my thought is like, because you have the rifle and that stuff, and that's understandable. But do we want the one who is a better, like, good fighter in front of us there in the back? So I'm like,
Well, I can probably survive the first round. Although I'll collapse. I'll collapse at the end of that round, of course. Okay, I'm going to step forward another one and see what the door on the left is like. Is it kind of open or closed?
So that door is closed. And if you test the handle, it's locked.
Oh, good. Unless the thing's intelligent enough to use keys. Step forward again.
Okay, that door is unlocked.
ooh,
I shall open it. I'm hoping that will also have windows letting in light.
So this door does have some higher up windows. They're not just slits, but they're also not just a massive plate glass window. This appears to have been some kind of more nice office, like possibly a captain or chief.
Yeah, the boss.
Any signs of holes in the ceiling? He says, expecting the answer yes.
No.
Oh, good.
has the place look like it got ransacked, or is it okay?
I mean, it looks like maybe a little light ransacking, but there is a computer monitor on the desk.
I said that, like, you see Kang's like, all right, so with the basic, like, understanding that a captain would more likely have access to a lockdown than anybody else would. So Kang's
I would expect the lockdown to be in the main duty area, so whoever the duty sergeant is would do it. The captain might have access over his computer, but we don't know if he's got computer access. Let's worry about this beastie first, shall we?
What's the chances the computer works after 5 years?
I mean, if anything, he, Kang's at least, I could try. You guys at least keep a lookout.
So if you step around and look at it, it looks like the computer is just been pulled apart for parts. So the casing and the monitor itself.
Getting that to do anything.
Well,
Kang, you've got the torch.
No, he leaves it right. He basically sets it right there on the ground, so where he goes inside, he can always go back and picks it up.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you can put a torch on the ground.
Okay, I shall step to the side there and see what the torch is revealing.
So from where you're standing there, you can see another door and another door and some other doors, and then right about down here you see with the torchlight, looks like bars and some forms on the ground in what probably is a holding area.
Ooh, those poor bastards.
Holding cell.
Oh dear.
All right, so
let me know when you finished in that. Let me know when you finished in that, Kang.
Oh, of course. So he just basically rips open the drawers and just see if there's anything in the drawers.
Okay, well, since you're checking drawers and kind of feeling around on the desk, I will say that you do, as you're kind of going over it, you do feel a switch kind of right under, like, the desk.
Okay.
Do you want to flick it?
Flick it.
So nothing happens, and if you feel around a little bit more, you can feel that, there was a wire connected to the switch that it feels like maybe it kind of goes back, is under the desk, and then maybe down into the floor, possibly into the floor, because this room does have like panel floorings. It's nice. Some of them are kind of broken and grimy, but it's nice. But it seems like this wire kind of went down and into that, and but it's been cut.
Huh. There's no way I could re-splice it, is it?
I mean, if you have the right tools.
I do have a tool kit.
Yeah, you don't have like fine electrical work tools. You have like crafting and you know, kind of heavier tools.
Okay.
It would also take time, and that's also not a guarantee that it's the only place it'd been cut, right? So.
Okay. Well, it's like, you know, he looks at that, so and there's nothing else in the desk or anything.
No, I mean this again. If you want to do a full scavenge, we're gonna have to do that later when you have time.
Oh no, it's just one we just running through anything that
nothing
pops,
nothing
like
stands out to you though. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But at least that's a note that he understands. It's like, all right, so he walks out, grabs the torch. It's like, well, it seems like there was a switch under the desk, but the line's been cut. So.
Yeah, as I said, intelligent.
So
Ooh, I wonder whether they'd be willing to talk. I say, then laugh quietly to myself. Okay, I shall step forward to the next door and lever it open, stepping back as I do.
So as you start moving forward, again you hear the something moving through the vents down the hallway away from you.
We haven't seen an open access in the ceiling, have we?
So if you look up in this hallway, you can see another open access right about here, right in the middle of the hall.
Yeah, because we saw it just peek its head around the corner here, and then when we came round, it's in the ceiling somewhere now. So it's obviously ran back here, climbed up, and then it's in.
Well, where did we hear it moving away? Just above me?
Yep.
So there's two of them. Why would it run down to the holding area and then kind of crawl back above me and then crawl away from me? So I think there's two of them. What's in this room on the right?
So that door is actually locked.
Oh, good. I'll move forward to the next door on the left and open to see if that opens.
That door is also locked.
Oh, good. We didn't need any more bits and pieces of wood. Unless, Kano, that paneling in the floor. How deep was the ducting underneath for the wiring?
Oh, it would have been just placed like directly under, like there would be no space down there.
So it's not a raised floor.
No, it's not a raised floor.
That's a relief.
Yeah, you weren't about a basement or something?
No, I was worrying about it going through the ducting in the ceiling and underneath the floor paneling in the floor, but it isn't.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Sorry, I've seen computer rooms where people could crawl underneath the flooring.
Yeah.
Anyway, I shall step forward to the corner.
So as you're moving closer to what are clearly holding cells, the first thing that you notice is the smell, and all of you are familiar with the smell. Tim, with his own experiences, but the other three of you are familiar with the smell from your experience in, well, at least Max is, because nobody else went into the kitchen, in the church. Well, I guess Charlemagne would be familiar with the smell from going up to the gallery in the church as well.
Gallery, yeah.
But chaos happened 5 years ago.
It did.
If these were prisoners at the time, they would be mummified by now and there'd be no smell. So these must be more recent.
Must be.
Yes. And as your light starts to resolve on them, you do begin to see several bodies.
Do we recognize some of the bodies of the dudes in red?
I mean, you recognize the clothing.
We do actually see Red Hand cultist gang style clothing, yeah.
Is it all gang red hand or not?
So, I mean, you'd have to get closer to be sure, but basically you see a couple of red hand in there. It looks like there's a couple of children in there.
Oh,
Like children
And
of the father. Those
children of the
freaks.
father, and some just other, like, wastelanders. And to be clear, those are the bodies that are intact.
So there are more bits as well.
Bits, bones.
This is its food. This is its food supply, guys. Oofed. This is a
it must have a way to open them, so
this
it must
is
have
a
the way to open them.
nasty monster we're dealing with. And it's got, or somebody's got control on its behalf of the lockdown. Oh, Dave, you were on mute. Still on mute.
Dave, you're on mute. I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Where are the cell doors?
The cell doors would be kind of over on this side.
Okay. I carefully step forward, watching for something lurking on my left.
Okay, yeah, no, doesn't seem to be. And those doors right there seem to be, normal exterior doors. But you know that there's snow piled up on the other side of them.
Is the blue bar another opening
It
where
is-
the sergeant will book people in and out, etc.?
Basically, yeah. Do you want to peek around and take a look?
Not as such, because the door into there is locked. I will just check to make sure that the glass is still in one piece.
So just looking down the side, you can see, yes, the glass is still in one piece.
Okay, so we will certainly get a warning if it leaps through the glass at us. Okay, do the doors look as though they are have been opened, or are they barred on the
No.
inside, bolted?
I mean,
whatever?
it doesn't look like they're barred. Well, actually, because you've had some experience with the other doors, it looks like these doors can be bolted, but they don't appear to be.
Okay, is there a locking mechanism of some kind visible?
Yeah, they have like a locking mechanism for sure.
Okay, I will suggest to Kang that we check the room on the right. Where is the nearest opening in the ceiling? Is the one
think
in
it was right about
in
here.
this lobby here?
Right
think it
about
was-
here.
Yeah.
Okay, I shall step forward and open the door on the right.
So this is another office. However, once you step forward, you hear movement from this room over here.
Oh,
I look over my shoulder.
can you see
So
anything
looking
from
over your shoulder, you see one of these things, and it looks at you, and it looks kind of like a deer caught in headlights. And you see it pick up something that appears to be metallic. It has some bits coming off of it that almost remind you of like antennae. It's about the size of like a lava lamp, roughly, but is more ellipsoid in shape. And it picks this thing up, which also appears to be somewhat moving or rotating a little bit. And you see it look up and jump and grab the ceiling with one arm and just pull itself up
Ooh.
into a hole, holding this thing.
I will call out to the
And
others.
you hear
There was one in the room to the left. It grabbed some object from the floor and leapt into the duct.
Now, at the same time, you hear a crash from this direction.
Sorry, which direction?
This
Oh,
direction,
so
towards the bullpen.
So it fell down on that thing that you guys where it ran. So it might be over here.
So you hear a crash, and then you hear another kind of thump, or maybe a bit of crash, and then nothing.
So the crash I heard was too soon for the one in that room to have got to the bullpen, correct?
You would guess, depending upon how quickly it can move in
Yes,
that
it was
confined
lightning
space.
speed. There is 2 of them.
Well, we know there's 2 of them.
Now, at the same time, you hear another like staticky crackle, and it's like, and then from the doors on your left, you hear a solid chunk of some kind of automatic locking system disengaging. And
Okay.
as soon as you hear that, and you've heard the crash and everything, you also hear from over in this direction, "Who?
Oh.
Does that sound like someone's tied up?
Yes, it does.
Quite possibly.
I'm going to start running.
So what do you
over
think?
that
We
way.
head over that way, keep an eye out, and see if there's somebody actually there.
So,
I'm sorry,
Once
has Charlemagne
Charlemagne-
just run past?
yeah, he is. Charlemagne
I heard someone
cares
calling
about
for help.
baseball. Yeah.
It's this
Yeah.
Bracely thing. He does this shit all the time.
He just
I
pushes
shall-
past you.
He
I
just
shall
shoves you out the way.
advance. I shall advance cautiously behind him.
Someone
Well,
calling
I mean,
for
he has
help.
assault rifle, so it's fine. I mean,
I have an assault rifle and God on my side, Max. Remember, God on my side too.
well, I know. It's like
So,
you got the hood people.
Once Charlemagne gets to about there, you can see a couple of things right away. You can see light filtering through the bullpen, but you also get the sense that it's more light because these doors are probably now open.
Yep.
You well, actually, everybody go ahead as you've moved up there. Maybe not Abigail yet if she's hanging back a bit, but let's get everybody else who's closer to the holding pens to give me a notice check.
On what stat?
Sorry, wisdom. This
Three
is just
for me.
general awareness and paying attention.
Oh, come on. 11.
Wow. So Charlemagne. Oh, and Kang. Charlemagne, obviously, probably because he's so focused on helping people. But Kang also notices that one of the bodies in the holding cell is like the head kind of like looks up and then quickly like ducks back down like
Someone's playing dead.
Like impossible. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
and you still hear shouting from these rooms. It doesn't sound like anybody is gagged. It sounds like those rooms are just kind of soundproofed.
Yeah, I'm heading towards them.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go.
I shall open the door on the right, just to make sure there's nothing in
Gang,
there.
Gang, someone in there's
Yep.
not dead.
Just
Someone
another
moved in
office.
Yeah, I've got to be careful on that.
The cell doors are open, by the way. They're just standing open.
there. Okay.
Right.
Gang, keep an eye on that one. Somebody moved in there. Keep an eye on him.
Alright.
In case he's a trap. It's from over here. I'm hearing the sound, isn't it?
It is.
I'm gonna
Both of those doors have little kind of like window slits in them that on the side that you're on, you can actually open the slits to
do that
look
first
through.
then.
Cell doors.
Well, they seem like that, but when Charlemagne looks through, if you're looking through that first cell door,
Mhm.
you see a person in there, and they're like handcuffed to a table. There's a ring in the center of the table, and they have handcuffs with a long chain that are looped through that ring, and they are handcuffed to that ring. And they're shouting, "Help us! Help us!"
Oh, I'm gonna try and open
You
the
also
door.
see directly across from them, right here, a mirror that kind of is about half. There's like a half wall, and then everything up from that is just a mirror.
So it's an interview room, and that's
Mhm.
a one-way mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
those police like double or one side of you.
Yeah, one side's glass, one side's mirror. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go inside and try and help this person.
The door is locked.
The door's locked. Okay, I'm gonna try and break the lock.
I mean,
I
if you
mean,
guys want me to, I could try
Hank
to.
can try.
If you guys want
Why
me to
not?
keep an eye out.
Why not look for the keys?
Yeah.
Well, so do I notice this door that's over here, right?
Yeah.
Is
If
the-
you were coming
is-
down the hall, you would have seen that door.
Is there
Yeah,
anyone
I'm
in
gonna
the
come over
other?
here.
Is there anyone in the other room, Charlemagne?
I'll go have a look.
So Charlemagne goes over and slides open that slit. You do see someone in there as well.
Oh, I recognize him.
Greg, Ruben. Hmm.
Okay.
So Kang heads down to the door down there. That door is unlocked.
So I kind of like slowly open it, and right there with the gun kind of sitting like this.
Yeah, it looks like a viewing room. So stuff has been knocked over. It looks like some camera equipment has been kind of broken open and scavenged. There's some filing cabinets in here. There's a desk and, what would have been a computer at one point, but that looks like it's been kind of broken open and scavenged. There's a door directly on your right as you enter that room.
Was this door open or closed?
It's closed, but it's not locked. There is
Alright.
also next to, kind of in the center of the wall here, there's basically a couple of switches.
Huh. I'll look at the switches and see if maybe it's like,
There's a
Flip the
switch
switch?
next to each mirror.
I
You
flip the
hear
switch.
No, actually, you hear a chunk, and Charlemagne hears this door kind of make a chunking noise.
Oh, I'm gonna go over to it and see if it's open then.
It is open.
I'm gonna go
High
in.
tech.
And so yeah, there's Ruben in there just chilling out. You don't know Ruben, obviously, but that's a character.
Mm-hmm. But a Brian's
And it's like, oh my god, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing?
And Kang, you can see Charlemagne open the door and walk into that room. You can
okay.
hear him clearly.
What are you doing cuffed
All
up
right,
in
so-
here? What's going on?
I woke up in here.
I need to get you out of here. My name's Charlemagne. Is there any more?
I mean, I've been hearing somebody in the room next to me.
Yeah. I see. There's one guy in the room next to you. Where's the keys? Where's the keys for these handcuffs?
He woke up here, he says.
I don't know. I just woke up here.
Damn. Okay.
Check my pockets.
Is there anybody right? How am I gonna get these handcuffs off him? Kang, do you have a saw? A hacksaw
Did Kang hit
maybe?
the other switch?
Oh yeah, he got the other switch and he's heading back around.
Okay, so yeah, definitely heard that door unlock as well.
So King basically walks around here. He's like, yeah. It's like, is there anything I set something on fire around here to at least get some kind of, like, I don't know, one of these guys or something?
There's two people through here, Kang. There's people in here, and they're
I
chained.
don't know what you mean by why do you want to set something on fire?
Is this guy
Yeah, so-
handcuffed as well?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
To see if he get... Okay, so he's like, hold this torch to see if I can get something. Like he's like, maybe I can jig rig something with get these things off of him.
Okay.
I
I'll
mean,
hold
you've
the
got a
torch.
toolkit, so that'll give
Yeah.
you a bonus
I'll hold your
to
Yeah,
break
so he
some
basically-
handcuffs.
Yeah, he hands the
Now-
torch over to.
Can I
While
just
you two
ask?
are...
Sorry, can
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
ask? Is there any light into the cell area through slits in the walls?
No, there's not.
Are any of the bulbs working here?
No, there's not. So you guys have very little light right now with Kang in the other room.
I mean, you guys back
Now-
up to us.
I shall just stay on guard.
Because of that, though, you might see somebody kind of crawling over some bodies, and looks like he's trying to creep past you guys.
Hold it.
What? I gotta get out of here. You're, I can't hear you, Dave.
Sorry, stop. Stay there.
Come on, man. I just gotta get out of here.
When we let you.
So, back into the interrogation rooms. Kang, why don't you go ahead and make a fix test with
Okay.
intelligence or dexterity, whichever one you choose. You get a +1 for using some tools.
Ooh, nice. Exit better. +1.
So yeah, not having a key, you're basically just busting these manacles. But yeah, you're able to basically break the chain, and so they've got some handcuff bracelets on right now until they can get them off. But
I mean,
you're
at least you
able
move.
to free them. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you free this? There's
All
one.
right.
There's one through here as well, Kang. There's another one.
Yeah,
He goes to
you-
this other guy, and he's kind of like.
we'll use the
is
same
he- is
roll.
he-
It's fine.
Is he awake, or is he kind of like this?
Yeah, he's awake. He's like, oh my god.
Look, we'll get you out of here. I can't get this cuffs off, but at least I can get you out of what you're in. So.
Yeah, please, let's get out of here. I don't even know how I got here.
Oh, you probably don't want to know. One.
Yeah, we need to get you guys out of here.
Oh, you
Nice
didn't need to
roll.
roll. I said I was going to use the same roll. You're able to
Oh,
get him
okay.
out just fine. Yeah. 14 though is crazy. Okay, so you guys are able to free those two, and then I don't know if you come back out into kind of the holding area with them.
Oh, I do. It's like, hey, y'all follow us.
Yeah, follow us.
So yeah,
We'll get you
they'll
out of here.
follow, but they're
This one's still alive, I say, now that there's actually light so I can see him.
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. We found these two over here that was locked up in the, I guess, the interrogator rooms over there.
so you do notice that these two are actually both like they have all their gear. They're equipped.
Huh.
Do
They
they
were just
look like
manacled
Red
to
Hand?
tables. They do not look like Red Hand, no.
Right.
Well,
And
unless either Brian or Oliver thinks either of them look like Red Hand.
No, so these are
I
me-
know.
these are some of me and
I know.
Brian's other characters. This one here, Craig, he's one of my characters.
And this guy on the ground?
Mm,
So the guy on the ground who was trying, well, he stood up by now. If you let him, or if you just told him to keep still, he'll just stay down there, right? But he is wearing
Here.
like scraps and rags. He does have footwear on, so it's not like he's dumb for walking in the snow. But he's certainly not nearly as well equipped as anyone else. Doesn't appear to have any weapons. He's covered in blood. There's also some blood kind of around his mouth, and he looks poorly. We'll just say that.
I will look over at the cage he came out of. If he's covered in blood, where's the body that's been bleeding?
So there's a lot of dried blood in that cage. So he's covered in dried blood. He's not like drenched in still wet blood.
Well, how about tacky blood?
Not really. No.
Because I'm looking
Maybe-
for the
maybe a little bit.
I'm looking for the source of that blood that was on the hand on the door half an hour ago.
Okay. So why don't if you want to investigate the bodies in the cells, that's going to be a roll for anybody who would like to do that, or we can deal with this guy first.
Well, if there's blood around his mouth, has he been eating bodies?
You can investigate the bodies if somebody wants to prevent him from leaving.
Oh, I'll stop him from leaving.
I'm going to prevent him from
Okay.
leaving. And while I mean, these people know this city a lot better than I do. Have they come across any instances of cannibalism here?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Well,
That's
this
what we
guy's
believe
got
the
blood
children-
around his mouth, which looks suspicious.
That's what we believe
Okay,
the children
so-
to have been doing.
So if one of you, it's up to you, if one of you is going to keep him from running, because he looks like he wants to
I will
roll.
keep him from running.
The rest
will-
of you, not including Ruben and Craig, because they're still kind of like, what is going on? Like they don't know what's happening. They're just
Yeah.
bystanders at this point. But the rest of you then can investigate the bodies in the cells if you want.
Okay, I'll do so.
Okay.
So that's going to be notice, survival, or healing
Oh, I'll do
with
healing.
intelligence.
I'll do healing then.
That was a bad roll for
Still
heal.
rolled badly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right, okay, you can... I'll do
Okay.
my comrade on Abigail. Abigail, you try re-rolling that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll do my comrade roll. I can do this on everybody once per session, so...
Yep.
Take a re-roll.
Oh my god!
Oh my days.
No, I'll take the first one.
Wasted on
No,
you.
you can't.
You can't.
You take
Oh,
the
no,
second
you're
roll.
right. No.
So, would Kang like to try to look at the bodies?
There we go.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what
there we
matters.
go. So, between Charlemagne's 6 and Kang's 9, you're gonna discover a lot of things about these bodies. Whether or not you're calling them out to everybody else is up to you. But here's what you notice, just in general, very quickly. First of all, in the cell where the guy who's still alive crawled out of, there is one of the bodies that looks like it's been, fed upon. Human bite marks, ripping and tearing of flesh.
Human bite marks.
Yes. And so I will say, I'll let you make your own deductions because your roll wasn't great. I will say that the bite marks themselves don't appear to have a lot of bruising around them.
So they're fresh.
Well, eating a dead body rather than eating a live
Oh
body.
yeah, so eating a
Yes?
dead body wouldn't cause bruising, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think this guy that's trying to escape's been sitting chewing on a body? His mate's died, so he just went, oh.
I mean, if he hasn't been fed,
I mean, he's a
and if
cannibal.
they thought he was
I mean,
dead,
Yeah, Charlemagne's getting to the point where he just also almost wants to just execute him for being a cannibal, because there's no way he can come back.
execution, that's big.
There's no way he can come back from that sin. There's no redemption possible for him. The only way to
Execution
make
is
the world
a
better
huge stress hit.
is to
We haven't even
execute
gotten
him.
to stress yet, because you guys are going to be taking some stress from seeing all these bodies. Especially with what Kang recognizes, as Kang is looking at these bodies and trying to get a sense of what's going on. The first thing that you notice is that a lot of the bones, not the bodies that are still fresh-ish, obviously they're decomposing, but a lot of the bones, you just randomly pick up one of the bones, and it's, first of all, it's clean, which is odd. Unless scavengers are getting in here. Secondly, the bone has a lot of tiny, like, uniform incisions on it. With
Like-
Scratch through somebody's teeth.
Like someone made
no,
the mirror out of the
not
bone.
teeth. No, like somebody was using a very fine tool to
A scraper to
incise.
pull all the flesh off the bone.
It doesn't
rid-
look like that kind of scraping, though. And as you look at some of the more intact bits and some of the more intact bodies that are decomposing, first of all, it's very difficult to determine, even with your 9, what killed them. Almost impossible, in fact. Secondly, while some of them do have wounds that look like they could have been like claw strikes, most of them, their wounds appear to be inflicted with tools. And in a lot of cases, those wounds are made in such a way where the flesh is incised and then pulled back, and then it looks like things have been removed, and bits of well, in one of them you even find like a small, like, metal kind of nodule that definitely is not something you should find in a human body.
Huh.
Kang really feels like, with his background in science, that these bodies look more like they have been experimented on than just mauled.
Oh.
Yeah, I would
So-
suggest we need to get out, and maybe like if that thing opened its way in the forward door, if that's what it was, we need to get out of here.
I think we need to get out of here either way. Which,
Yeah, it's like
I will
like-
describe what I saw in more detail, which
Uh-huh.
was one of those creatures looking, as you said, deer in headlights, picking up what looked like some sort of metal object with rotating antenna sort of thing,
so some kind of gizmo.
and leaping into the ceiling, and then we heard them running away. Now, whether they have been here experimenting and they've just fled because we are obviously capable of looking after ourselves,
A threat,
I don't know. But that would seem to fit. Now, are all these bodies all these bodies look as though they've been experimented on?
Everyone that's intact, yes. And
I will
all,
ask-
a lot
I
of
will-
the bits look that way as well.
I will ask the guy with the blood round his mouth, what happened, and how did you escape whatever it was?
They just, they would come and they would take them, and they would go down the hall, and he points very specifically at this doorway, and then they would bring them back, and sometimes they'd be okay, and sometimes they wouldn't, and I just played dead.
And did they take them repeatedly or just once?
Sometimes when they brought them back, they were already opened.
Ew.
Sometimes they
did-
just brought back bits.
And did they come back alive and die here?
Well, that one, and he points at one of the bodies. He lasted a few days. He was taken in there a couple of times.
Who's they?
The monsters.
How many did you see?
There's one time I saw the one, and then there's another time 2 of them brought in those 2, and he points over at Reuben and
Craig.
Craig. There's 2 of them brought in those 2, and then there's the one time I saw 3 of the tall ones
Oh.
just milling about, and then there was another time there was a short one, and the short one never came over here. The short one, I saw him go into this room, and then come out, and he was always in that room when they took somebody over there.
Oh dear.
Hmm.
The short one. Do you think the short one's a person?
I think we'd better. I get him to describe the short one. Does it look like anything like the little thing I saw the creature pick up?
I don't know what that one. The short one looks like the tall ones, but smaller.
How small?
A little. Well, how big are you? How tall is Tim?
I'd have to check and see what I said.
Well, let's just say that he's like, I don't know, maybe about, and he figured he kind of like 5 foot maybe.
Okay, so the tall ones are about 8 foot. The short one is about 5 foot. Is that about right?
Yeah. And it had the big eyes and the big head and spindly little arms and legs.
So there's at least 4 of them.
So while you're talking to this guy, two things happen relatively quickly. First, there is, I'll say, like a shower of sparks from some of the broken sockets above head. Not like anything dangerous, but like definitely like some buzzing and some dropping of sparks. As at the same time, since you've all kind of keyed into it, that sense or familiarity, that hum of electricity suddenly just stops. As if the power source, whatever it was, has been shut off or removed. And shortly after that happens... Oh, well, let's see. You're all standing there. So, okay, 3 things happen. Bit of a shower of sparks, some sparking, hum of electricity dies. You see the light that's coming in from the bullpen area, which is kind of filtering through the scrap wall. It darkens a lot. You notice after the kind of electricity and the buzzing stops that there's kind of a darkening of the light from that area, which doesn't make sense because it's still like midday as you're kind of moving through here. And then you hear another humming or thrumming, but this is deeper, and you can kind of feel it in your stomach, and it's even making some of like the stuff on the floor or any of the surfaces start like jumping a little bit. Almost reminds you of like an earthquake, but definitely not the same.
Well, I think that's probably the alien ship taking off, Tim comments.
Just reminded me of that scene in Jurassic Park, the original. The water.
Does it sound like it's coming from outside and we're just getting a vibration?
Well,
yes.
I mean, like, above you.
Yes. I guess it's probably the aliens escaping with whatever they've got.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Does anybody want to go outside to try to see what's happening?
How do we get outside?
Can we go outside?
Well, I mean, you can tell that this door over here is open now.
Can we get
You
through
can
this
see
let's head
barrier?
coming
Can
in.
we get through this barrier?
No, you'd probably have to run through the halls again. But
Okay.
now that
Uh,
if you think that it's
yeah.
fairly safe, it won't take you that long to get outside.
I'm gonna get it.
Alright, so come on, let's go.
I will escort this prisoner as we run down the halls, just to make sure
Okay.
he doesn't run away.
Okay, and so Craig and Ruben are also going to follow you as you go. So we'll just figure you get outside at this point. As you step outside, there's still a definite shadow over the area that you're standing, and you can in fact see. And I'm going to have everybody take a point of stress at seeing this. Disc.
I knew
A
what I was going to
silver-
see. I claim exemption.
A silver disc hovering above the police substation. It is probably slightly wider than the substation, and as it is slowly rising, you can see that there's kind of a cable that is dropped down out from the bottom of this disc, and you can see that it's pulling up what looks to be, for lack of a better term, some kind of energy producing unit that maybe has like the equivalent of like solar panels on the sides, and it is like pulling this thing off of the roof and up into, there's kind of an irised opening in the bottom of the disc that it's pulling it up into. And the probably what's really weird for you guys, I mean, that's weird, right? But like, you're also standing right now in an area where no snow is falling because this thing is just blocking the snowfall.
The actual UFO.
And so you see it rise up and start to move away, and it's heading. Let me check the map here to see which direction it's heading. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's heading kind of north-ish as it moves away and continues to rise after it completes winching this thing up, and the opening iris is closed.
Yeah.
And as it flies off to the north, if you continue to watch it, you can see suddenly some kind of a contrail of something come out of the direction of the hospital and strike the side of this thing, and there's a explosion.
Oh.
And it rocks it, and then another contrail and another contrail, all of these things coming out from the location of the hospital, and 3 or 4 of them strike this craft as it starts to try to pull away to the north west. And as you watch it, it's clearly damaged, and it's belching this kind of bluish, greenish smoke from its side as it kind of lists to one side and flies off to the northwest. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of watching this, it really picks up some speed, but then there's what appears to be a secondary explosion. A lot more of this bluish and greenish smoke coming out of it, and you see it plummet.
No.
And you feel the concussion of a crash hit you probably a good 20 to 30 seconds later after this thing hits the ground.
Well,
And I think
what
that's
is-
probably where we'll call it for today.
Sounds
I
good.
was like, when the fuck did it become Independence Day?
No way. An actual UFO. My days.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, but we know the guys at the hospital have freaking RPGs.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a problem.
Or
They've
surface air.
got SAMs now.
Yeah, it's Sam's. That wouldn't be
Right.
an RPG.
Yeah, that's not an RPG.
How the?
Yeah,
What the?
well, that was probably the bastards who caused this 5 years ago. They're here experimenting on us.
Possibly. That was some ending on that one, Brian. Well, thank you very much, Brian.
Yes.
I can't
Well,
wait for the
before I
next
let
one.
you go, I should probably give you some experience,
Oh
right?
yeah,
And
XP.
some stress. Don't forget the stress.
Oh, and stress,
Right.
yeah. So let's do stress first. You automatically got a point of stress for seeing the. I'm not going to call it an alien spaceship. You don't even know it's aliens.
It's a
Honestly,
UFO.
it
It's
could
an
be anything.
unidentified flying object.
It is unidentified, and it was flying. That's correct.
I mean,
So you're gonna.
Kang probably has an idea. Like, wouldn't have an idea. He's like, what in the hell?
So you take a point of stress for that automatically. Some of you have taken stress earlier, but for the atrocities that you witness back in the holding area, I think we're going to get some stress there. Nobody's killed anybody else yet, unless you're going to tell me that Charlemagne is going to execute this child of the father. Actually, you know what? I think you're all stunned enough by witnessing this thing rising, and nobody told me that they had bound this guy, just that you were bringing him with
I
you.
was watching him.
You can say escape.
Are you sure maybe you wouldn't be shocked enough to take your hand off of him and let him run?
Well, I know Charlemagne wants to kill. I mean, I don't know. I've not been in this city, so I don't know what they do with cannibals here. I know what we do in the forest.
I want you to make a mental save at -2 to see if you kept yourself aware enough to not just let go of this guy and be like, what in the world? And like hold your hand up and something.
Fair enough. Does he get to make a mental save too? Huh? Do I run away? Okay. Is it on Infowez?
He's been held by these things for who knows how long. He doesn't need to make a mental save. He's already insane.
Okay, so is it on... Oh, sorry, it's not on anything, is it? Okay, fine.
Yeah, just a mental save -2.
Nope, failed.
So yeah, when you realize again kind of what's happening and you come back to yourself, he's run off.
I probably
And
dropped the axe, actually.
Right. There's no sign of him. He's just gone. He bolts. Okay, so there was no killing done, which is great. Nobody was mortally wounded, which is great. You didn't steal anything from a non-enemy, fine. Everybody did witness a massacre site or atrocity, I think. So we're going to definitely call that a -1. And that's it. Just -1 from witnessing the ship and the atrocity.
So two total.
I'm quite happy to take -1, but do you mean +1?
Yeah, +2 stress.
Sorry, plus 2 stress. You're correct. You
Yeah.
add 2 stress. Does that put anybody back over? Do we need to do a breakdown real quick?
I was already over, so you've just added to the current stress level.
Oh, no. So you actually don't gain more stress. Your stress level does not increase. You're already over.
I didn't
Instead,
go for
since Abigail was already at the break point, she doesn't take additional stress, but she does need to make a mental save to not break. Unless you want to become hardened and zero it out.
I'll do the mental save first.
Okay, yep. Smart way to do it.
Let's see.
Mental saves at -2, though.
-2.
I believe so. Let me double check. Still learning the rules, folks. Still getting... Because the stress rules are new in this version of the game. So... There's my stress. There it is. Yep. When a new dose of stress raises a total above, or when you break again, mental save -2 penalty at the end of the scene in which they gain the stress.
And I
Okay. So we can worry about that next time. We'll start next session and figure out like whether or not you want, and you'll have time to think about it too, whether or not you want to do a hardening or if you want to deal with a breakdown. Because you're probably still going to want to check this place out. There are some rooms you haven't been into that Kang could possibly pop the locks on, and there might still be some stuff in there. So.
And there's all the vehicles out the back as well.
Mm-hmm.
All the vehicles out the back, yeah. Those will have to be dug out though if you want to try and search them and scrap them.
No problem.
However, So experience. I think. What do? We don't do one for playing, do we?
Don't
Some
think so.
games do that, but I don't think we do that.
Not in this
I
one.
don't think they're.
No. Should I start doing that, or do you guys think you get enough experience? Should I start doing one for playing?
It's up to you,
It doesn't
mate.
say. Like,
Do you?
yeah, you know what? Especially because the amount of experience to level is going to continue to increase. I think I am going to start giving you one for playing. I'm not going to backdate that though, because I don't want you to suddenly gain 8 experience, which might make a couple of you level twice.
Oh man.
No,
So
I'm
one-
not going to
No, no.
backdate it.
One for playing.
But from now on, you get one for playing, and we're going to do one for exploring a new location. So that's 2. And you're going to... I'm going to give you one for dealing with a threat, because although you didn't fight the creatures, you could have tried to provoke them, and you
avoided
didn't.
them.
Yeah.
You did avoid them. So even though like they were technically avoiding you, you didn't provoke an encounter, which could have been done. So I will give you a point for that. So everybody gets 3 points of experience to add, and if that takes you over, that should automatically level you.
Yes.
Dave.
Did
your
that
sheet
level
should
to
show
Yep.
level
that.
4?
I'm up to level
That leveled
2.
me as well.
Nice.
4.
So, for levels, and I mean, I'm happy to hang around for a minute off stream if we don't want to do this on, or we can keep recording if you want, Oliver. Totally up to you.
Probably best to do it off stream.
Okay.
So do you want to do that after
So,
we wrap
yeah.
up the game? Then we'll wrap up the game and then we'll go do our leveling
Yeah, I
up.
think we'll wrap there. You've seen something very strange. Possibly some of the people at the auto repair shop have also seen something very strange. We'll see what happens when you return. But now you have a police substation to kind of search. And for next session, I will work up kind of everything that you might find. We'll make rolls at the beginning of the next session and kind of go through that, and that'll be the rest of your day here.
Nice one.
I'm a bit annoyed because my dad's theories about Area 51 look like they're right.
Might be right.
Um,
Right, okay, I'll wrap up the video and then we'll go do our level ups. Okay, so thank you, Brian, for the game. It was fantastic. Thanks,
Of course.
Brian, Max, and Dave for playing with me, and to our viewers on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the next one. I'm RxOliver. This is the gang. Bye.
Show off too much chest hair.
Oh, you don't want to disappoint my 35% female viewership, Brian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shane.
Yeah, there we
Let it
go,
all-
ladies. There we go. I'll put that in the members only content. That's what I'll do with that.